Hello, my name is Captain Davis Jones. I'm one of the owners of Shardana Sailing Charters, and I wanted to introduce you to some of our favorite places to go on the Chesapeake Bay. Well, let's start where we are. We love Rock Hall. It's a great place to be, but sometimes you just have to go away. So, we'll get in Shardana and go anywhere you want to go. But let's start by heading north up to the Sassafras River. Sassafras River has beautiful anchorages along the way with gorgeous sunsets as we look west across the bay to the sun. Along the way, we can stop for dinner at Barber's on the Bay, or we can head all the way into Georgetown to a place called the Granary, which has some lovely waterside dining. And after dinner, we can walk over to the Harbor View ice cream shop, where kids love to eat. Best thing is there are no jellyfish this far north in the Chesapeake, so there's some great swimming opportunities off the back of our boat. Well, from the Sassafras, let's head back south. We're going to go to the Magathie River, which is a beautiful little river just south of Baltimore. But you wouldn't know it looking at the rural atmosphere. We'll help you grill your own steaks, and I can guarantee that my friend Mike is not eating horse meat. To get to the Magathie, it's about a 2 or 3 hour trip from Rock Hall, depending on the winds, and we'll start off by going past Baltimore Light, then winding up into the Magathie to that horse farm I just showed you. But if you don't want to stay there, there's a number of other anchorages along where we can find a nice quiet place for dinner. Heading out of the Magathie, we're going to head south past Sandy Point Light, which is just off of Sandy Point State Park, which is a beautiful beach if you wanted to stop and dinghy in. We're going to head down south to the West River of the Rhodes River, and I'm just going to skip Annapolis, although that's an obvious destination. We'll go under the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and to our lovely anchorage, again watching beautiful sunsets and even gorgeous moonrises. To get there, we'll head south. It's about a 4 or 5 hour trip down from Rock Hall. So we'll go down past Thomas Point Light, which is a beautiful old screw pile lighthouse, and then head up into the Rhodes River. If you wanted to be a little less isolated, we can go down to the West River. I love an anchorage just off of Bayfield's Bed and Breakfast, which has a lovely place to stay if you wanted some shoreside accommodations. For dining, we can take you over to Galesville, this beautiful little waterside crab house called Pirates Cove. And then from Galesville, we'll head across the river, or across the bay, over to St. Michael's. It's a fun run over there to this beautiful, historic water town right on the Miles River, home of the skipjacks and other things to make your stay very interesting. To get there, if we're over on the western shore, we'll zip across through Eastern Bay and up the Miles River. But if we're coming down from Rock Hall, we'll go through Kent Island Narrows, which makes it about a 3 to 4 hour trip, an easy overnight from our home port. In St. Michael's, there are lots of anchorages. We can stay right off of the inn at Perry Cabin, which is a beautiful $500 a night bed and breakfast. We can stay just off the best Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum, and if you remember, we can even stay at their marina. Beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous museum about the history of the bay, the watermen, and boat building if you're interested. We can also drop you off for dinner at the Crab Claw Restaurant or any of a number of restaurants throughout this beautiful little town. And for a nice quiet evening, we'll grab a anchorage just out into the river for a nice quiet night. From St. Michael's, let's think about heading south. We'll go down to Solomon's Island, taking a pretty long day run up into the Patuxent River to our beautiful yachting center, home of yet another screw pile lighthouse and marine museum. To get there, it's a fun trip down. We'll pass Calvert Cliff State Park, and we can put you ashore where you can hunt the beach for fossilized shark's teeth. A little further south, we'll pass Cove Point LNG terminal, which is a very heavily protected export facility for all of this natural gas we're now producing. But if you come inside of these little white buoys, you'll get boarded by the police, so we don't want to do that. We'll head on down up the Patuxent River and into our yachting center. One of the advantages are there are lots of marinas we can pull into, we can anchor out, and lots of dining options around and drinking options if you're so inclined. But one of the advantages of Solomons is that if anything has gone wrong in our voyage, well, there's a nice marine store right there and lots of other chandeliers where we can get work done if we need it. There's also the Point Patience Marina at the Navy Recreation Center, which, I got to put in a personal plug, is home of our Sea Scout ship 1942, one of the best Sea Scout ships in the United States. And Shardana partners with them, sometimes joining them for their cruises, but providing leadership throughout. From Solomons, well, let's take a long little trip south. We're going to juke our way up into the Potomac River and up St. Mary's Creek to St. Mary's College with a world-renowned sailing program, home of the first capital of Maryland, and home port of the historic vessel the Dove, which is a recreated colonial-era sailing ship. To get there, we're going to, as I said, go back up the Potomac River to St. Mary's. We often see dolphins down that far south, although they're coming more and more up the bay as the water quality improves. But there are jellyfish, so you have to watch your swimming. From St. Mary's, well, the world's our oyster, as they say, and we might take a long trip down to the islands. We could launch from there, but stay tuned because the Shardana captains may be chartering something down there, not to sail to, but to fly to, and you may have the opportunity to join us for the most beautiful sunsets in the world. So, wherever your travels may take you, we hope you'll join us here at Shardana Sailing. We'll be glad to help you sail your story. Look us up and come for a ride. Thanks a lot.